Hey, this is Matt from InvestiQuant. Today is Tuesday, November 9, 2021. This morning, the markets were fairly quiet at the open, but shortly after the open, Tesla started selling off and the market went with it. We now have a kind of directional, down day where we are bear flagging really here in the S&P. You can see the opens up here near the highs of the session. We drove lower. Now we're kind of consolidating near the lower portion of the session, kind of making a directional move here to the downside. We've got good volume and good range so far today. The range is already above the 100% mark for the 5-day ATR. So we do have a good range taking place. You can see NASDAQ here down below a little bit weaker, whereas the Russell over here is a little bit stronger. But what we'll look at this afternoon is this kind of directional movement with good range taking place. I'm going to go ahead and grab all of the instruments here, and we'll use a 3 p.m. Eastern Time entry set up as a long. This morning we opened higher. I am going to add that information to the study here that we had a gap up, and then I'm going to go into the post-open filters. I'm going to say that the open is in the top 25% of the intraday range by going to the open versus intraday range, hitting equals next to open in top 25% of the intraday range. And then I'm going to say that the 3 o'clock price, which is the time of entry, is in the bottom 25% of the intraday range. We'll have to wait until 3 o'clock to know if that's true or not, but that's what this is going to be based upon. And then I'm also going to say that we have good range already. And the way that I'm going to do that, or the way that I'm going to define that, is to go to this intraday range size as a percentage of the 5-day ATR and say it has to be at least 100% of the 5-day ATR. That is the case. The 5-day ATR in the S&P is about 30 points, and we've got about 37.25 points of range so far today, so that is met. All right, lastly, I'm going to put us in a bull market environment, above a 10, above a 200-day simple moving average, and click View Results. All right, here we go. These are the results based upon entering the market long at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, exiting at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time, when you have a directional down day taking place with good range. And I've defined that as the opens in the top 25% of the range, the 3 o'clock price is in the bottom 25% of the intraday range, and the daily range, which is measured from the high to the low, is at least 100% of the 5-day ATR, and this is taking place after a gap up in a bull market environment. Historically, 94 samples of the S&P here, so good sample sizes in the S&P, 81 in the NASDAQ, 81 in the Dow, 79 in the Russell. Win rates on these are coming in a touch weak on the S&P at 44%. NASDAQ's pretty neutral at 49, Dow 54, and Russell 47. So win rates not really strong in either direction there. The S&P the weakest at 44%. But we do see the average moves on these have been larger to the downside. That looks like that's across the board there. So the average loss larger than the average win in the S&P. That is also the case in the NASDAQ, in the Dow, and in the Russell. So the win rates are kind of mixed, but the average moves have been larger to the downside in this scenario. So hopefully you found that helpful. Good luck today, and we will see you next time.